Mahnaz Badhian is an Iranian-American poet, painter, and translator whose work has been published into several languages worldwide. Mahnaz runs the literary magazine mamag.org to bring the world's poetry together. She finished translating a book about the uprising in Iran in 2009 called Spalding Arise with Jack Hirschman, published in San Francisco in 2014. She received her MFA in poetry from Pacific University. Her latest poetry collection, Raven of Isfahan, was published in 2019. She edited 300 pages of COVID-19 anthology art and poetry from around the world in 2020. In 2018, Mahnaz had 3 days of an art exhibition in San Francisco. We're so happy to welcome you today and look forward to hearing your poems.
Thank you so much, Julia, and thank you so much, Vakos, for inviting me. It's an amazing event. I will start reading a poem by Hafiz, a 13th century poet of Iran. Ala ya ayyuha saqi adr ka'san wa nawilha که عشق آسان نمود اول ولی افتاد مشکلها به بوی نافی کآخر صبا زان طره بگشاید ز تاب جعد مشکینش چه خون افتاد در دلها. It's a long ghazal, but I'm just going to one line from this ghazal is very famous, and it's every Iranian woman knows that by heart. The translation is, in the dark night, with terrifying wave and whirlpool so dire, how can those who stand on the shore know our inner fire? And now I'm going to read 2 of my poems. One is older poem and one is very recent. Probably I'm reading it here for the first time. Our kisses. I'm dedicating this poem to those who live in a war-ridden areas, in the countries with lots of war and bombs going on. Our kisses. We kissed under the bombs in our homeland, under the thunder of fear and doubt. We kissed on the streets of diaspora, on the road of despair, in the city of devil. We kissed so much that our lips joined the eternity under all the beliefs, under fire and blood, under executioner's sword, under distorted news. We kissed quietly. Our kisses had different color every day. Sad kisses, love kisses, kisses of excitement, kisses of fear, kisses of death, friendship kisses. Our kisses were talking. Our kisses were talking when they silenced our voices, and our lips became our safe haven. Thank you. And the new poem that I wrote called Dinner with Death. Death lingers close. I can almost touch its hat every day as I climb into bed. But the desire to live spreads wide, like the hue in my paintings, the vivid stroke of my lipstick, the splendor of being a woman from ancient lands, with the verses of Hafiz, Rumi, Khayyam inscribed on my soul. Daily, I glimpse death's presence, a reminder that I am seen. I have promised him moments of solitude, but only once I have quenched the thirst of every daffodil, sung to each poplar tree in my hometown, fed every hungry bird, finished reading my mother's diary, and when my hands can no longer touch. I have told Death one day I will invite him to dinner, and together we will lie down in our bed. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your work with us today.
Thank you so much.
Connie is here with us. Connie is from the United States. She lives and writes in Smyrna, Georgia. She has been published online and in print, most recently in C2, Western Voices 2023. Her most recent book is called Circles of Roses Forever with Alien Buddha Press. And Connie, we are so glad to see you here. Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kwaja and Agnes Scott College. And thank you to my fellow poets who are reading today. I'm going to read just one poem that I wrote. Let's get to it. Salt water and fresh. In the beginning, she hovered over the waters, but she left this place a long time ago. She cannot bear to look at the way her husband has mismanaged her whole house. The children turned on each other rather quickly. They called each other mean names. They fought over whose space was whose in the living room, on the couch. They entered each other's rooms without permission. They spilled each other's glasses of juice. They threw their toys. They hit. Left unsupervised, they vented their rage on each other. They believed right was a more important word than love. She peered back over her shoulder sometimes. Each time her tears grew heavier with salts. They filled up so much salt they became the ocean. The chaos of all those broken toys and overturned chairs and tables, the way they ruined the carpet, the wood floor underneath, the way they kicked holes in the drywall, but most of all, the way they left bruises on each other, made each other bleed. She said, "The children need you." He yelled at them for misbehaving. He gave them lengthy punishments, stand in the corner, write a sentence 100 times in cursive, do 100 jumping jacks, get the paddle. He demanded perfection. He wrote the rules on the gray board and made it a mountain they could never climb. He promised, "I'll mind the children." He painted a banner over their blue ceiling in every color to prove it. Then he turned his attention elsewhere, to a project more important, to the scales on worms and the ice in glaciers and the inscrutable slow pace of rocks. And when he found them misbehaving again, he said, "I'll go down there myself." But they still didn't listen. Every time he tried a new shape with a new message, they just fought over how they thought they heard it. She can't move back in with him, but they both do love the children. He watches them, but can't make them listen. All she knows is how to express emotion. In the beginning, she hovered over the waters. Sometimes she does peek back, just a little, and cry. But she buries the salt inside instead, where it crystallizes her heart, and it rains, fresh water, pure and sweet. A blessing, not a punishment, and the flowers in the desert bloom. Thank you.
Thank you. So glad you were here today. Thank you. Sergio Inestrosa is a professor of Spanish and Latin American affairs at Endicott College in Massachusetts. He's a member of the editorial board of Tiberiades, Red Iberoamericana de Poetas, forgive my Spanish, y Críticos Literarios Cristianos, and one of the electronic magazine Cine y Literatura, based in Santiago de Chile. His last book of poetry, Umbral de Oriente, was published by Almava USA in November 2019. Thank you for being with us today. We look forward to hearing your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It has been a very hectic morning. I couldn't find the English version of the poem, so I hope that you will forgive me and excuse me if I only read the Spanish version for you. It has been a very difficult day for us here. Hopefully you will forgive me for that. The title of the poem is Teresa vuelve a soñar. Desde hace algún tiempo, los sueños de Teresa son siempre el mismo sueño y dejan ver su profundo deseo de perpetuar la vida, su propia vida prolongada en otra, una vida nueva, una criatura nacida de sus entrañas. Y es así que una noche soñó que por fin daba a luz, pero estaba sola, ni médico, ni partera, ni parientes a su lado, completamente sola, ah, completamente sola, y pensó en medio del sueño cómo cortaría el cordón umbilical para que la criatura no muriera estrangulada. En medio del sueño, Teresa sabía dos cosas con certeza. La primera es que era un varón y la segunda, y más importante aún, es que necesitaba cortar urgentemente el cordón umbilical para para que ese ser pudiera vivir su propia vida, para que pudiera llorar y respirar por sí mismo. Y Teresa sufría, pues no sabía qué hacer. ¿Cómo cortar aquel cordón amoratado que mantenía a su hijo todavía atado a ella? Y se le ocurrió usar sus uñas, sus dientes, rasgarlo, morderlo, hasta lograr separarlo de su cuerpo y darle vida a su hijo. Teresa sudaba y se afanaba hasta que logró cortarlo, y entonces oyó un berrido que la despertó de su sueño. Miró hacia abajo, donde nacían sus piernas, y vio el cordón goteando sangre. Thank you so much, and please forgive me if I don't find the English version, but it has been a completely difficult day for us here at home. Thank you so much one more time, and I will continue hearing your readings. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next poet is from Mexico. Elisa, are you here? Ah, she's the video.
You want to go ahead and introduce her?
Yes, thank you. Okay. Elisa Corona Aguilar, once again, thank you for your patience with my Spanish, was born in Mexico City. She is a writer, a guitarist, composer, and a translator. She won the Jose Vasconcelos National Award for Young Writers for her first book, Friend or Foe, and the Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz International Prize for her historical essay on the rides of fairs, the Circular Parade in 2013. Her most recent book is Notas sobre Silencios, Notes on Silences, published in 2023, and her most recent translation is translation of our own Dr. Quadja's book, No One Waits for the Train, Spanish title Nadia Espera el Tren, and she is a music PhD candidate at New York University.
Siguiendo a Bulesha. Ven, Bule, vayamos a algún lugar donde todos estén ciegos y nadie hable de castas y credos y a nadie parezca importarle. Y yo, un niño, siguiéndote donde alcanza más lejos la luz de sol y debajo de cielos lavados por la luna, por acres húmedos de noche, hasta que la última estrella se apague, nunca cansado, ni una palabra digo, y tú también determinado a no hablar, aunque haya una eternidad de silencio entre nosotros. Alguien baila en la calle, aplaude y pisotea, mientras yo me quedo a un lado, inquieto. Ahí va un desdichado ladrón. Escucho el viento y tus pies descalzos en el camino, y la excitación de tu piel bien estirada sobre su marco de huesos, mientras confronta el viento. Las escrituras se desmoronan en mis manos, los sellos sagrados se rompen, palabras se convierten en polvo. No hago alabanzas para madera ni piedra, ni los dioses salvan a aquellos que mueren como nosotros. Pero me amo a mí mismo, lentamente en el susurro de la lluvia sin fin del tiempo. Una bolsa ruidosa sobre mi espalda, con sobras y cuerdas y trozos fósiles. Bailo y enciendo mis huesos. El rey de los estafadores estafa, y un extraño deambula sin propósito con mis ropas puestas, su camisa desgarrada, un extraño que pronuncia mis mismas palabras, camina de la misma forma, con el cojeo y el arrastre míos. Alguien camina arrastrando los pies por la calle, se envuelve bien en su chal, tiembla mientras yo miro perplejo y desaparece en la noche. Dime, pronuncio yo, mientras las sombras susurran un ir y venir de mis palabras arrojadas en el frío aliento del viento. Dime, pronuncio yo, y en la oscuridad granulada llena espacios vacíos. ¿Quién soy yo? ¿Quién eres tú? Un ladrón dentro de mi ser desprendido del ser. Extraño, ¿quién soy yo? Un extraño deambula con mis ropas puestas. Un extraño pronuncia mis palabras.
So I'm going to be reading this in the original in English from which it is translated, simply because I think it wasn't, we weren't able to display it there. So this is the poem that Elisa was reading. It's called Following Bulle Shah, and Bulle Shah is one of those 17th century mystical Punjabi poets. There's a little epigraph from his poetry that starts the poem, and that's, "Come Bulle, let us go someplace where everyone is blind and no one knows us or our caste or thinks much of our kind. And I, a child, following you to the furthest reach of sunlight and beneath moon-washed skies across wet acres of night, till the last star is snuffed, never tiring. Not a word do I say, and you too determined not to speak, though it be an eternity of silence between us. Someone dances in the street, claps his hands and stamps his feet, while I stand by the way and fret, there goes a thieving wretch. I listen to the wind and your bare feet on the road, and the thrill of your skin stretched tight across its frame of bones as it fronts the wind. Scriptures crumble in my hands, sacred seals break, words are dust. I worship neither wood nor stone, nor gods save those that die like us. But I lose myself slowly in the rustle of time's endless rain. A rattle bag upon my back with scraps and strings and fossil beads, I dance and set my bones akindle. The king of swindlers swindle. And a stranger walks about aimless in my clothes, his shirt front torn. A stranger who utters my very words walks the very same way with the same limp and drag I have. Someone shuffles down the street, pulls his shawl about him tight. He shivers as I watch perplexed and vanishes in the night. Tell me, I say, as shadows whisper back and forth, my words tossed on the wind's cold breath. Tell me, I say, and grainy darkness fills up vacant spaces. Who am I? And who are you? A thief within, myself from self undone. Stranger, who am I? A stranger wanders in my clothes. A stranger speaks my words.
Thank you so much. And our last poet for this session is Dan Veach. Are you here, Dan?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, let me introduce you. Glad you're here. Dan Veach is the founder of Atlanta Review and the author of Elephant Water and Lunchboxes, an award-winning translator of Chinese, Arabic, Spanish, and Anglo-Saxon. Dan has performed his poetry worldwide, including Oxford University, People's University in Beijing, and the American University in Cairo. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Today, I'm going to read a poem by Jose Agustin Goitisolo. It's the last poem in the anthology of Chinese poetry that I'm translating. Goitisolo's mother was killed in a fascist bombing raid on Barcelona during the Spanish Civil War. Goitisolo would go on to name his own daughter Julia after his lost mother. Words for Julia, the poem I'm going to read, was written during Franco's dictatorship after the Civil War, and it's become one of the best-loved poems in Spanish history. It has given hope and consolation to people struggling against political oppression throughout the Spanish-speaking world. Words for Julia. You cannot turn back because life is pushing you forward like an endless towel. Daughter of mine, it is better to live with the joy of humanity than weeping before a blank wall. You will feel trapped. You will feel lost and alone. Maybe wish you had never been born. I know well, they will tell you that life has no purpose, and it's all just a miserable sham. Then always remember what I wrote you one day, thinking of you as I do now. This life is beautiful, you will see, for in spite of its burdens, you will have friends, you'll have love. One man, one woman, alone by themselves, are like nothing, like dust. But when I talk with you, when I write these words, think of others as well. Your destiny lies with those others. Although your life is your own, your dignity belongs to everyone. Those others will hope you resist, hope you will help them with your joy, your song in the midst of their singing. Then always remember what I wrote you one day, thinking of you as I do now. Never give up, never stand alone by the roadside, never say, I can't do any more, go any farther. Life is beautiful. You will see how in spite of its burdens, you'll have friends, you'll have love. As to the rest, there's no choice. You will inherit the world just as it is. Pardon me for not knowing what else to tell you. But please understand, I am still on this road myself. And always, always remember, what I wrote you one day, thinking as I am doing now of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today.